Coming up today on That LTD Life, we've got a social media management / link in the bio tool that's going to hopefully allow you to cut your costs on your monthly Buffer or Linktree subscriptions, perhaps both. We're going to find out together as I test out Hopper HQ. This is currently available for a lifetime deal at AppSumo. It is $49 is the lowest price. We will get into all of the pricing details later on in the video, but you should know that this is currently on sale for $49. It is going up in price on October 7th. So if you watch the video and you like it, definitely check out the link in the description. This video is not sponsored, by the way. That's the only way you can support the content, is just check out the links in the description. All right, let's go ahead and get right into Hopper HQ. I'm gonna pick up my code and we will begin. That was fairly simple. We are now inside of Hopper HQ. Or are we? It looks like there is a little bit of a survey here. It says, we'd love to get to know a little bit more about you so we can better customize your Hopper HQ experience. Let's get started. I already answered this question in the first onboarding sequence, so it's weird for them to ask it again right away. Next question is, how big is your company, including yourself? Then it asks, how many members of your team will help manage your social media? Kind of a weird question because it says just me or 1 through 5. Well, if it was just me, it would still be 1 through 5. So I don't know if it's one additional person, but that's not how the question's asked. So I'm going to stick with 1 through 5. What category is your business / accounts? We're going to choose a category here. We'll go with software. Are you moving to Hopper HQ from another social tool? I'm going to say yes, find out what it does. Which tool are you moving from? It's just a fill in the blank here. What are you looking to achieve with social media? And then another fill in the blank. Fame and fortune, obviously. All right, thank you. We are now finally, I think, able to begin using the tool. First thing I see after the lengthy survey is an upsell. Not loving the experience so far. It's like, hey, welcome, give me some money. All right, I'm going to click away. All right, clicking away works. Now, over on the left here, I can add my social accounts. It also says right here, start by adding your first social account. We can connect up Instagram, X/Twitter, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, link in bio, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Let's start off with, how about Twitter? We'll authorize this. And now my Twitter account is connected. It's that simple. I was already logged into Twitter, so there's no other authorization that is needed. So with X/Twitter connected, I could start tweeting, or I could go ahead and connect up another social media account. You might be wondering at this point, well, what sort of limits are there on the number of accounts that you connect? With the plan that I chose, which is tier 1, I get 1 account per platform. So that's actually a decent amount. It's kind of thought to be like a client, right? So you'd have a set of social media, you'd connect up everything. So I could hit over here, add new account, then connect up Instagram. I don't really use Instagram, but I'll connect up my account anyway. Just simply logged in. I'm going to hit save info. I don't know. I'm so disoriented on Instagram. I don't even know what I'm doing. All right. So content optional, profile information required. Looks like both of those things are on. So I will hit allow. And now I believe Hopper has access to my IG. Well, it's kind of set up. I've got a little exclamation mark here saying publishing is not set up for this account. So I'm going to hit enable. And now it looks like I have a couple of things to do to make sure I have admin access and that pop-up blockers are turned off. Now I will connect up to Facebook and log in as myself. Obviously, Facebook owns Instagram, so I'm going to grant access to Hopper through Facebook. And now auto post is enabled. So not quite as seamless as it was with X, but still very simple to get going. Let's try to add a few more accounts in here. I think Facebook is the next logical progression. So let's go ahead and connect up the Facebook account. Now I've got a few different pages here, so I'm going to connect up the Dave Swift account. And now over to the left, I can see my Facebook, X, and Instagram accounts. I'm going to try to connect Twitter here. I'm just going through the login procedure to connect up Hopper to Twitter. Just going to make sure all of these integrations work properly. And there we go. We've got LinkedIn adding to the pack. Believe it or not, I actually have a TikTok account. I think I've posted twice over there. So I'm going to try to get logged into TikTok. I'll use my phone number or actually my email. That's what I probably used. Yep, that is it. It's in my password manager. We are now authorizing TikTok. I've got to solve this very tricky puzzle. Does anyone just play those for fun? All right, there we go. I'm logged into TikTok the first time in years. Let's go ahead and hit confirm here, continue. Account connected, success. Now, of course, I'm going to test to make sure all of these will actually post as well. That is essential. But I'm getting a ton of different versions of my own head over here, getting a little bit overwhelming, but that's my own fault. All right, let's head over to Pinterest. I don't have a Pinterest account. That I just don't have. I do have YouTube, so we can try that out. I get a little nervous connecting up YouTube to anything. You know what? When Shorts first came out, I actually made a dedicated Shorts channel because that was the advice from some YouTube experts at the time. Now it's clearly not the advice, but this will allow me to connect up to the Shorts channel and not have to post it on my own, or my actual live channel. So I will do that. And now my YouTube Shorts is connected, and even better, I don't have the same profile picture. Oh, now it's connected. I thought it was done before, but now it really is. All right, the last thing to do is a link in the bio page. Let's just click on this. We'll get this over with right away. I can create my link in the bio page right here. I'll give it a name. Here is Dave. Dave is available. I'm going to nab that. It says you need an active subscription to create a page. Well, I have an active subscription. What gives? You know, I wonder if it's because I capitalized it, whether if I make it, just curious, not that it wouldn't let me make the page, but I bet lowercase Dave is still available. All right, let's try this. It says I need an active subscription. So that is not currently working. I'm going to double check the AppSumo page here. All right, so it's definitely mentioned here as a link in the bio and microsite builder, but I don't actually see it mentioned in the limits of the plans, as in like you get one with every plan. It says all plans include a calendar planner, a grid planner, analytics, bulk create, 6 months storage retention, and 100 bulk upload posts per month. And the actual plans, which I will go through at the end of the video, does not mention anything about a link in the bio page. All right, so it appears the link in the bio feature is not going to work right now. I'll see if I can get that running by the end of the video. But for now, let's proceed to actually posting on some platforms here. So I notice I've got a few different options. First, there is this blue button right here that says create. And if I click this, I can either create a new post or bulk create. And if I click bulk create, I can actually just upload or link to a document, I assume like a CSV file that's going to have social media posts scheduled. Now, I'll learn more about the bulk importing momentarily. Let's get started with something a little bit more practical, just scheduling a single post. So I'll hit create new post, and then over to the right, I can choose which platform I want to actually post to. It did kind of default me over here to Twitter because it was at the top. Remember, I was in the add account section, but perhaps in the background, I was already selected on Twitter. If I were to do this while I was clicked onto Facebook, notice that Facebook rises to the top, and now I can click create post, and it's going to post over on Facebook. So I don't necessarily find this interface to be super intuitive, how the different social media platforms are going to rise to the top when you actually want to interact with them. I would prefer they were always in the same position so that I can have some muscle memory and know, okay, Facebook is right here, and just go directly to it. But that's not how things are working. So now you know. Back on track, let's go ahead and schedule out a Facebook post. I'm going to hit create post, and I will hit post again. And here we go. The next available slot looks like is in about, let's see, it's in Chicago time. That is my correct time zone. And that is about 2 hours from now. I can change this to be a little bit sooner, which I would like to do. We'll have it fire off at this is in about 5 minutes from now. I just got a message from their team. It says, I passed your issue on to the engineering team. I'm waiting for a response. I can assure you this is a bug and not the expected behavior. So rather a fast response. I did actually say, hey, your link in the bio thing is not working. I got a message back pretty quickly. So hopefully they actually fix it quickly as well. All right, so as I was saying, I can schedule out the post or I can have it post right away. I want to schedule out the post just to make sure their scheduling mechanism is on point, that everything's going to operate correctly. So I think I looked at the time wrong. So I'm going to change this to be about 10 minutes earlier, which is in about 4 minutes from right now. I can also use a reminder instead of auto posting. This will essentially send me an alert letting me know, hey, it's time to post. Then I can go make sure that the post goes out. I'm going to take a quick screenshot here to make sure I have something to share on social media. I've got my image. I just grabbed out a clean shot. I'm going to drop this right in here. And that's what it looks like. It says uploading media. Kind of slow to upload a single image. It is now processing the media. While it's doing that, I want to actually write some content. So I'm going to close this calendar and I'm going to write my post here. Okay, so I've just composed my post here for Facebook. It just says that I'm currently testing out Hopper HQ. I could, I believe, just use AI to revise this, or actually it says text transform, automatically enhance captions for more engaging, readable content. Let's do that. It says you can check caption grammar, add. So there's a little widget that pops up in here. Change the tone of the caption. What tone do you want to use? How about humorous? See how funny ChatGPT is. Well, I mean, whatever they're using to power this, probably ChatGPT Mini. Then it says I couldn't proceed with the request. All right, let's start over. So now I have a bunch of options that are irrelevant. So I'm going to skip out of that. We'll look at the AI functionality a little bit more. Hopefully you can get something working. I can change the location here. See if this comes through on the actual post. I'm at the Minneapolis Police Department. We'll just use Minneapolis here. All right, I literally have 1 minute to post this. So let's go ahead and save. All right, so it's now publishing the post. It is not, oh, actually it is just hitting 4:43 right now. So it did go out on time. That was not a post now opportunity that was scheduled out. So let's see what actually happens here. On my calendar, I should see some mention of this. Yep, here it is on my calendar. And this is great. Their support in real time mentioned that the bug has been fixed. So I've got a few things to do. I'm gonna hop over and confirm that the bug is indeed fixed. Link in the bio. We'll add in Dave, create page, available. Try one more time. And sure enough, we do have a link in the bio page. So we'll be able to look at that next. But I need to confirm this actually went out on Facebook. So here is my Facebook page. I'm not very active on this. We have a Facebook group, far more active over there. But it looks like everything did go out as planned. I've got the link right here. My social media image showed up. It says I'm in Minneapolis. So yeah, this worked really well. Very happy with it. And now we get to check out the link in bio section. So what we can do here, it says edit links. I can add a link. We'll do clientamp.com and just enter in the URL. Actually, I'll give this the title, My WordPress Agency, and hit add new link. I'll add in my personal blog here, daveswift.com. I'm going to add a link to the That LTD Life playlist. So this will be all of the LTD Life videos. Add this link in here. And then I can also add social icons. So these would be following icons, I believe is what I'm expecting here. It's actually not what I got. So let's go ahead and just follow through with this. I can use one of my existing social media pictures. Which one to choose? All right, title the page, added a little bio in. I can add, oh, here are the social icons. This is what I was expecting to see. I can link up to my YouTube here. Then I'll add in our Facebook group and my Twitter. So I get a little preview over here of what it's actually going to look like. I've got the different buttons, my profile image up at the top, and then my follow links. Looks pretty good to me. I can copy my sharing link here. I don't love the domain they're using, but it is short, so we can live with that, I suppose. I've got some different color schemes here. I can kind of go through some of them. Here's the Elementor theme. We've been seeing that a lot lately on this channel. I'm not like in love with any of these. They're all pretty plain, but there is a few more here to check out. Yeah, just kind of scrolling through them. I find it interesting. There's so many different colors in the palette, but then I don't see them in the preview. Like this has a pink color, but I don't see that anywhere. And this Cyberpunk has all of these different dark shades and a pink color. I don't see those either. Coffee, kind of the same thing. Usually it's only maybe the first two colors. Now the good news is there is the ability to create a custom theme right over here. And then I'm gonna have all of these different colors that I can modify. This is probably the way to do things for most people. So we can change the background color, the font family. We've got, looks like quite a few fonts here to choose from. Maybe not the entire Google font library, but the more popular ones for sure. So let's say I chose Open Sans. Then I've got my button options down here. There is a fill. I can choose the style. That is cool. I at first thought there was only one style for buttons. So I like this kind of middle of the road where it's not too pill shaped, but also not a square or rectangle. We've got shadows. We can add in some shadows. Don't really love the angle of those shadows personally. So maybe we can do a soft shadow, which looks like it is, oh, that's getting better, looking a little nicer. A little bit more of an angle. Let's go to a rectangle type with that. Okay, I can live with this. So I'm actually under the light option and then just customizing it a bit with these button options down here. And I think that's a pretty good compromise. You could probably easily go through and find some different views. So here, now it's pulling out that pink color. That is because it is this shadow color. So, all right, makes a lot of sense. Here's the coffee look. I'm just gonna stick with the simple light mode here. Save the changes and opening up the link in a new tab. This is what it looks like, pretty decent. I can, get this little hover animation and click over, visit the actual links, and they do function properly. Here is my homepage, which I've not updated this year. And here is the That LTD Life playlist. Looking pretty good. All right, so that is the link in the bio section. I do want to point out there is an analytics section here, so you can click over and see what links people are actually clicking. These are all of the links that I just clicked. so we can confirm that the analytics is actually tracking. So that is cool. The analytics aren't amazing. We just get things like the sources where people are clicking from. So direct right now, the devices they're on, I'm on desktop, and their location, I'm in the US. Just a minor little CSS thing here they should probably fix, where the chart seems to go off of the page and adds in this left to right scroll, and obviously doesn't look super awesome. But otherwise, everything else about this tool has looked pretty good. I would say kind of like B- design. It's not terrible, but certainly not overwhelming me with its simplicity and beauty. So now we can just focus on scheduling posts on different social media platforms. You already saw me post on Facebook. I do want to point out that there's a few more options inside of each platform. So we saw bulk editing. I'll try to cover that at the end if I can figure out how it works. There is the calendar section, which you saw briefly. This will allow you to see all previous and upcoming posts. If I click on that post, I can see what the content is exactly. Now this has already been posted, so I can't delete it. But it looks like I can make some notes over here if I wanted to, maybe. Just says this post doesn't have any notes, so perhaps that's for upcoming posts. I'll check on that. Okay, yeah, so if you go in to create a brand new post, there is a note section over here where you could leave little notes for yourself. Now, disappointing is the approval process is really limited to the upper tier AppSumo plans. So you might have noticed if you're inside of the planner, there is the scheduled, which is where you've actually created your post. They're scheduled out. There is draft mode, which are posts that you're currently working on but are not ready to go. Then there's an approval section, and approvals are not going to be available unless you spend a decent sum of money, one of the higher AppSumo plans. That's kind of a bummer because I would love to have maybe just a single collaborator, like a social media manager, where they can schedule out everything and I can come in and say yes or no to their efforts. But it looks like you got to spend a little bit more dough to get that. There's a history tab over here, by the way, where you can see all previous posts. And there's also a reschedule this post option. So you'll be able to see all of your previous posts. I believe it was for the last 6 months, and then easily regurgitate them back onto the social medias. Of course, to pick which posts you want to regurgitate, you'll check out the analytics section where you can actually see who is viewing your post and how much engagement you're getting. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't post very much on Facebook, but it looks like this post I just shared a little bit ago has already gotten a heart, and it has a 0.15% social media engagement. This is the combined values of likes, comments, and saves this post has received versus follower count. So inside of our analytics, this is our post analytics. We can also see some account-wide analytics, but this is producing an error currently. So it says we've received the following response when attempting to view from Facebook. It says invalid Facebook request, data provided. Please resolve this issue and try again. Clicking over to the tab again, I get the same error here. So definitely some issues arising. Hey, maybe I'll hit up support and let them know about this. So I actually get that same error when I click on the best time to post option as well. It says analytics error here. So I have let their support know, and maybe I'll get that fixed before the end of the video as well. Then there's this last option over here for hashtag analytics. This is working. It looks like we have used some hashtags in the past. This has all been automated stuff. I'm not even really aware of what it is, but there's been a few different hashtags used, and you can see how many likes and comments each one of those hashtags get. That could actually be very useful stuff. I love how the analytics here, both the post analytics and the hashtag analytics, have surfaced some data. I'm hopeful that some of this other stuff starts working soon because it probably is going to be good too. Right below the analytics section, there is an option that says tagged. And when I click on this, I get another error. It says not sufficient Facebook access token permission. So I don't know if there's something going on with my actual connection up to Facebook. You saw me do it, so you know it was done exactly the way they asked, but currently I'm not able to see the tagged options. It does appear to show me this, like it's got something here, but I don't think I was tagged in this post. So yeah, a little unclear on that. So that is Facebook. Let's blast through some of the other options. I'll at least show you how the platforms look. Here is TikTok. You can see all of the posts that I have created on TikTok. It looks like a total of 4 of them over the last few years. So this is my grid planner. That's kind of cool. I can see what my grid will look like on TikTok. I can go ahead and create a post right from here. I'll be able to see my analytics. Analytics are not supported for TikTok. That is why we're discovering this. This is a dungeon crawl. We're going through and figuring out all of the nooks and crannies. Link in bio. It's going to be the same options. I do have a calendar option here for TikTok. But yeah, essentially that is all for TikTok. I just noticed on the calendar there is a little selector here. So I could choose all of my social media accounts and see all of the posts that are going out across all of the accounts. That is nice. Yeah, the UI is a little bit weird how we've got all of our accounts over here, but then some of these options are kind of like universal to all of the accounts. I think they should really pull those out. So just make like calendar show up at the bottom, make link in bio show up maybe beneath all of my social accounts. Just really segment things out. So I know if I'm in this secondary menu, I'm actually working on the social media account that's selected. The way it is right now is too confusing. All right, next up, let's check out posting on LinkedIn. What kind of options do we have? So I'll create a new post. Oh, real-time update. All right, first they celebrated the fact that the link in bio page is now working. And then next up, they let us know they've sent the issue to their Facebook engineering team. So nothing fixed quite yet. Now, where were we? We were going to post on LinkedIn. Here are the options for posting on LinkedIn. I can create a new post. I've got approvals and history. If I hit create post, basically the exact same thing we saw on Facebook. Upload an image, add in your text over here. We can use AI to write it. Let's do a generative caption. The AI needs an image to work with. Let me know when the image is uploaded and ready. So let's upload that same image we had before. All right, so uploading media here. This one seems to be going a lot faster, although still slower than I would expect for an image. Now it is processing it. There is a little image editor here, by the way. I can create a carousel post. I can crop the image. I can edit the image or delete it and start again. We open up the editor. Let's see what this looks like. Looks like they're using Pintura here. This is a drop-in image editor. A lot of tools use this exact tool to add a little bit of image editing, but this will allow me to do things like adjust the filters, as it is commonly called. We've got filters built in here. I could have it have a mono look or a cool look, maybe go back to default in this case. Pintura is fine. It is not a super deep editor. You'll be able to do very basic editing. It's handy to have in websites like Ghost. Ghost uses Pintura as well. But for social media editing, you're probably going to want something a little bit more polished to get, very nice looking graphics. But for now, that is better than nothing. Go ahead and try out their AI generation here and click on AI right there. We will generate a caption. And it says, what tone do you want the caption to be in? How about friendly? It says, unleashing the power of the data hounds, sniffing out the best results for you. And here is the options I have. Elevate your social media game with our all-in-one scheduling tool, streamline your content strategy and stay ahead of the curve, maximize your online presence effortlessly, connect your audience seamlessly, and enhance your social media strategy with us. And if I don't like any of these, there is a start over button. Let's ask it a few other things, like what are today's top hashtags? Does it have like real-time information? So it says Hashtag Explorer is only available on Instagram accounts, and you can move to an Instagram account in your team using the Hashtag Explorer to create hashtag groups. All right, so then it asks me if I would like to move over to my Instagram account to try using the Hashtag Explorer. Yes, let's try that. So we kind of get the gist, I think, with posting on LinkedIn. It's be very similar to what we saw. Here is the Hashtag Explorer inside of Instagram, where I can see the current trending hashtags. Love Instagood. Instagram is the third trending. That's so cheesy that would be the third trending hashtag on Instagram. You see, I don't like Instagram. I feel like it's a place your brain goes to die. Convince me I'm wrong. Leave me a comment. Let me know. But we do get some, I understand that Instagram is important for marketing. I'm just saying as a society, we probably use it a bit too much. So we do get some information here in terms of how many posts are using this hashtag, the competition level, the number of daily posts, comments, likes, minimum top 9 likes, maximum top 9 likes, and then an average. So I can actually sort these, which is nice. So let's say I want to find lower competition where it's like for like, tags for likes, pretty, and swag. Fortunately, none of my content is going to work with those tags, but if yours does, then you'll be able to find them pretty quickly. So these are the trending hashtags. I can also see my hashtags over here. I don't have any hashtag groups, but I could create one and then monitor their usefulness. Let's say it was SaaS. I'll add that one. All right, I've added a few hashtags in. I can name this and I'll just call it software. And I will hit save group. And then it populates with all of the data on those hashtags. Now, most of them have 0 daily posts, except for WordPress, of course, has quite a few posts. Now, that was my hashtag group, but of course, there are others that you can browse. There's a browse categories option right over here. So we can scroll through and see different hashtags related to other subjects. So perhaps you're into soccer and you want to see a table of all of the different popular soccer hashtags that people are using right now. Eventually, this data should populate. It does say fetching data. All right, that maybe took a minute or so to populate, but all of the information is here. And now, rather than just looking at all of the trending hashtags, which were far too competitive for a lowly Instagrammer like myself, I can actually see some hashtags that might be helpful in my post where I won't have so much competition. And I can kind of sort between how much competition there is and how many posts overall there are, as well as how many likes and all of that to find ones that might be relevant, just like you would do for SEO, looking for keywords that have some popularity but aren't too competitive. Now, if I like this collection of hashtags, I can save it to my hashtags. It's going to create a new group for this. So I'll just hit save group here. And now if I go under my hashtags, I've got my software hashtags that I created before, but now I also have the soccer hashtags, which I can open up at any point, hit open table. Whenever I see that, I'm thinking of open table like to book a reservation. But that's not what it's going to do. It's just going to open up the database or the table of metrics, the analytics here on the different hashtags. All right, the last option in the hashtag explorer is to upload a CSV. So if you've got a CSV full of different hashtags, you could upload them and start monitoring them through this tool. So we're checking out Instagram right now. We kind of skipped ahead to the hashtag section. If I go back over to the planner, I'm gonna get a grid planner just like I had on TikTok. So that is really cool. I'll see what my grid is actually going to look like as I publish new posts. Now with Instagram, there's a few more options. We can publish posts, reels, as well as stories. So if I hit create post, I have the option to choose between any of those choices: posts, reels, and stories. We have analytics as well. So just like for Facebook, we have post analytics, hashtag analytics. Here is the best time to post. So this was not working on Facebook. This is actually really cool, a nice visualization of when your audience is going to be online and more likely to actually respond to your posts. You can also see a breakdown of what country they are from. And then you've got your account analytics over here. Now, keep in mind, I have not been on Instagram in probably 3 years, so don't judge me. Overall, this kind of makes me want to use Instagram. They've clearly put a lot of time and effort into the Instagram portion of their social media management tool. Looks really, really good. All right, I do want to look at posting on X. I wonder if it's possible to do threads. Let's create a new post over here. It just has a plain old post option. Looks like maybe I clicked on new post once before. I'm going to get rid of this. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about threads, unfortunately, inside of X/Twitter. So yeah, it doesn't look like you'll be able to do that, meaning that sometimes if you're not familiar with Twitter, people will have multiple tweet storms, they used to call them. Now it's mostly just thought of as a thread, kind of a multi-step process of tweeting. So it doesn't look like that's possible to schedule out inside of this tool, but otherwise it looks identical to the other editing process. By the way, anytime you're composing on one platform, you can add other platforms in. There's a plus button right over here where you can simply add in more and more social media networks. And as you do that, the appropriate fields will appear. So I just added in YouTube. I can have my YouTube post title show up right there. So eventually here, I hit all of my available accounts and I could post on all of them at the same time by just creating a single post right here. And whatever is relevant will go out to the appropriate social media networks. You can even choose between a post, a reel, or a story, but that is not available when you're doing this kind of multiple platform posting. And I'll briefly touch on the YouTube integration in case you're curious. You kind of saw what it looks like when you post on Instagram a moment ago when I just added it as a platform. So it's just going to have the title and everything here. Upload your image over there. But there are no analytics for YouTube. A little bit of a bummer, but obviously you've got YouTube Studio, lots of great analytics over there. So not really necessary either. But essentially that's it. There's not much more to look at in terms of the YouTube integration. It's just simply upload and go. Just a few more things to review over on Hopper before we head over to AppSumo to check out the plans and pricing, and I will eventually give you my final score. So let's check out the settings on Hopper. This part is a little bit confusing. So each social media platform itself, if you click on, let's say Instagram here, has its own settings option. So now currently I'm in the settings for this Instagram profile, and I can go ahead and modify if I want push notifications or fallback reminders. I can set those up. Push notifications obviously being mobile and fallback reminders being through email. I can also check out my time settings to make sure I'm in the right time zone. I can have a different personal time zone to the account time zone. So that's important, especially if you're hiring someone overseas to manage this for you. And then we've got a general section over here where I can actually update my display name. I tempted to try and see if that actually works on Instagram, but that is the feature. Now, the part that is confusing about these settings is that there is a different settings panel for every single account, but you can also get into each one of these social media accounts from the same settings panel. Let me explain what I mean. So we are in Instagram right now. Let's say I want to check out the settings for X. Well, I've clicked on X. Remember, it hops to the top here. And now I've got settings and it says general settings for Dave Swift. Well, this third row has appeared. I kind of block it out mentally because I'm just focused on what I'm trying to do. But inside of this, under accounts, well, now I can see all of my accounts and then I can manage the settings for those. So let's go over to TikTok, and guess what? Now I'm in the settings for TikTok, even though X is still at the top. This is a little bit of a disaster from a user experience point of view. Let me make it worse for you. There's also settings right under the top user profile. I can click on this and get to the settings this way as well. I mean, there's not really much to do in the settings. It's just such a organizational disaster that I have to wonder what they were thinking when they created this setup. This is a real mixed bag tool if you're not getting that out of me. Like, I think the analytics sections are really cool. The integrations with posting and everything seem to work flawlessly, but then there's some other things that are just real head scratchers. Oh, there's dark mode down here as well. Let's go ahead and try that out. Woo, that was a nice little animation. I like that. Dark mode looks pretty good. I'm a fan. The last thing I want to check out is the bulk uploading. So I'm going to try this out. Bulk, create. And now what I've concluded here is that it actually just wants you to upload a bunch of images. It doesn't necessarily allow you to upload like a CSV file like I had hoped. So instead, I'm just going to start dragging and dropping some images. All right, so I dragged one in and then it took me to that post creation. I'm going to go back to bulk create here. I guess I have to select them all at once because as soon as you drop them in, it takes you into the editor here. So yeah, that works fine, just dropping them in. And then I could write my caption here. Or I could auto post. I could, go ahead and have it use AI to write the actual. I don't think I would do that, but yeah, this is an interesting way to approach it. It wasn't really the automation that I was hoping for. But if you have, let's say, a designer that's creating a bunch of social media graphics for you, you want to just dump them in, then do all of your captions at once. This would definitely be better than just doing it one at a time. But I do feel like it's a little bit more risk for error because you're more likely to rush, maybe miss scheduling something at the wrong time. So that might lead me to think, well, I'll just do this one at a time to ensure that everything goes correctly. CSV file, on the other hand, you can be sure that everything is in there appropriately. Like you can look at the CSV file and see the post dates and everything. So that would be a nice thing for them to add in the future. There are some bulk actions up here, by the way. So it says multiple posts from files. That's going to be another bulk upload. I can mark all as drafts, mark all as scheduled, convert to stories, convert to reels, and convert to posts. All right, I did check one more time before heading over to AppSumo, and I'm still getting the analytics error for Facebook, but we did see what that looks like on Instagram, so hopefully they get that fixed. For now, let's head back over to AppSumo to check out the plans and pricing. All right, so let's get into these plan details here. Now, I've been using Tier 1 to make this video, and that gives me access to all of the social media networks. I get 30 social posts per account per month, so I can post once a day essentially on each of the networks. I get 100 AI credits. Now I use 10 to make this video, so those feel like they're gonna go pretty quick if you actually utilize them. Of course, you can always use something like Claude or ChatGPT and just copy and paste, but it is convenient to have it right in the application. We've got the number of team members, currently 1 on Tier 1, 2 gigs of storage, again, 1 social set, so that's gonna be 1 account for each of the platforms you saw today, and then only 10 tweet posts per month. I feel like they should put this right underneath social posts per account because that's a little confusing. You get 30 on all of the networks, but only 10 tweets per month. That I believe is because API fees are very high on Twitter. So they're probably trying to reduce their costs. If you go up to Tier 2, your costs increase by nearly 3 times, but so do most of the limits here. You can see we're getting 3 times as many AI credits, 3 times as many team members, almost 3 times as much storage, 3 social sets, and then 30 tweets per month. We also get 150 social posts, so that's 5x over what we got on Tier 1. And if you're doing social media management on Overdrive, head over to Tier 3, where you're gonna get 600 social posts per month, as well as 1,000 credits, 15 team members, 10 gigs of storage, 10 social sets, and 100 tweets per month. We also finally get that post approval setting that I was mentioning earlier in this video, where you can kind of have someone oversee the account and then go ahead and give them feedback on what you like that they've scheduled. So one more thing on tier 3, I'm guessing this is going to come up. If you have 10 social sets, meaning like essentially 70 different social media accounts, you're likely not using those just for personal, you're using those for clients. Best I can see is there's not a good client system set up right now in terms of having like a dedicated workspace for each individual client. I could be wrong about this, but from what I can tell, inside of Hopper, they do have a team functionality, but each team requires its own paid account. If you go over to Hopper and click on your username and then go over to create a team, you're going to see this message right here under create a new team. Note, teams have separate plan and billing details, and then you can convert your existing plan over to a team plan, and your billing details will be transferred over. So that makes me think that there's not a good way where we could just say like, all right, this is client 1, let's go and switch profiles here and go to client 2 and just have all of their accounts like we've seen on so many different social media tools. I could be wrong about that. If you know for a fact that it does offer that functionality, definitely update me in the comments. All right, so it's almost time for my final thoughts, but before we do that, I want to remind you to click like if you've made it this far in the video. Hopefully you found some value in it. And also I've got a link down below. If you want to support the channel and you're going to buy something at AppSumo, consider clicking on that first. Now, final thoughts on Hopper and a final score. Wow, a lot going on here, a lot to like, but also a lot of bugs, a lot of letdowns, a lot of things that just didn't function properly. It was cool to see their support team engage with me in real time while I was recording the video and then actually fix a bug in real time, essentially. I've never had that happen in the course of recording a video without having to stop and wait for a few days. So I love to see that. Overall, that does bode well for their team that they're on top of things and trying to fix it. But why'd they launch with so many features that were not ready for prime time? I mean, they're on AppSumo. They're going to be getting attention right now. Overall, if you're in need of a social media scheduling tool, I definitely would try out Hopper and see if it works well for you. It's got a lot to offer. I really like the analytics sections. It seems like they put great detail into especially platforms like Instagram to make sure that those analytics are surfacing and making your social media a little bit easier to manage. So I applaud them for that. But it is also just another commodity social media scheduling tool. And if you don't need one of those right now, definitely feel free to pass on Hopper. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 7.2. I think that's a very fair score. Hopper is a decent value. It's really reasonably priced. It'll certainly save you a ton of money if you're currently paying monthly for one of the big name tools. And I really don't see any benefit of using those tools other than you might already have people trained on them and workflows existing, but maybe you'll make up for it in cost by switching over with the one-time fee. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you check out clientamp.com, get signed up for the free email newsletter, and hit me up in the comments if you noticed anything I got wrong or you just want to tell me what you think of Hopper. I'd be happy to hear your opinions. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next review.